The human mind is an intriguing place. There are hundreds of ways we interpret our thoughts and our thinking. From Freud to Kruger, psychologists have tried to theorize ways of the mind and how we absorb information around us. While everyone perceives reality in their own ways, and everyone has an approach that differs from the other, the human psyche stands on a common foundation that spans across the board. We have been studying human psychology for centuries, and experts have put down some theories that can be encapsulated into phrases that stand true for most of us. We are going to explore some stunning quotes about human psychology that most of us will relate to. Hey guys, welcome to another exciting psychological facts video, where we go over some exciting psychological quotes about human beings. These quotes are not just by psychologists, but famous authors and also political activists. Before we start, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a video from us and are always up to speed. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Every person on this earth is full of great possibilities that can be realized through imagination, effort, and perseverance. Scott Barry Kaufman is a cognitive psychologist with years of research on human intelligence. His research revolves around intelligence, creativity, and potential of human beings. His quote comes from his research on the potential of the human mind and how much it is capable of. According to him, if a person is persistently putting effort and opens up his mind, the possibilities for them to achieve great things are endless. Number 2. Becoming is better than being. Carol S. Dweck, an American psychologist, says that a person with a fixed mindset is prone to becoming dormant in life and not moving forward. If they don't move forward, they give up and end up becoming complacent. On the contrary, one with a growth mindset is willing to put in the hard work. They understand that failure and imperfection are a part of the path toward success. According to her, every being is capable of developing a growth mindset. Number 3. We forget very easily what gives us pain. Graham Greene, an English writer and journalist, quoted this to explain that we easily leave behind those memories that have brought us hardships and pain in the past. This is because with every challenge, we either become better at dealing with it in the future, so as to not remember that something hurt us before it can hurt us in the present, because we're more resilient now. Number 4. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Written by Viktor Frankl, an Australian neurologist and psychiatrist, as well as a Holocaust survivor, in his celebrated book, Man's Search for Meaning, we realize the importance of changing the attitude we have towards things rather than drowning in bitterness and hate towards a situation that we are not pleased to find ourselves in. After all, it's the perspective that we have towards challenging circumstances is what helps us power through and stay on the side of possibility. Number 5. We know what we are, but not what we may be. Shakespeare has not only been a legendary writer, but the quotes in his literature have inspired us to challenge our thinking for centuries. This quote from Hamlet from Ophelia's lengthy speech preceding her decision to end her life may seem to be ironic in the context, but it certainly consecrates the idea that there is no end or limits to our potential as human beings. Number 6. I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 things that do not work. Thomas Edison, an inventive genius, has given us perspective on the ways in which our efforts may not seem to provide results and drastically changes the way we look at failures. Persistence in the face of disappointment is the key to success. Reframing failure in terms of efforts that do not work can help keep you going until you find a solution that does. Number 7. The brain is wider than the sky. Emily Dickinson, one of the greatest American poets of all time, was known for challenging conventional thoughts and changing the way the English language speaks for her. With this quote, she wants us to know that our brain is capable of exploring anything that is not in our reach and expand to the greatest potential just by the power of thoughts alone. Number 8. We are so made that we can only derive intense enjoyment from a contrast and only very little from a state of things. Sigmund Freud was the founding father of psychoanalysis and an expert on explaining human behavior. One of his most enduring ideas is the concept of the unconscious mind, which is a reservoir of thoughts, memories, and emotions that lie outside the awareness of the conscious mind. In his quote, he's trying to convey that after a point, the sameness of things brings us to a saturation point, and there's only little that we can achieve from being in that state. The human desire for novelty is what keeps us going beyond and keeps us alive. Number 9. Don't become a mere recorder of facts, but try to penetrate the mystery of their origin. Pavlov, a renowned physiologist, was someone who explored and decoded many mysteries of human behavior. According to him, you do not have to be a scientist to dive deeper into knowing things that are happening around you. Exploring and understanding the mysteries of everything, he says, is the best way to keep your mind at its peak condition. Number 10. Thoughts are the shadows of our feelings, always darker, emptier, and simpler. While most people look at Nietzsche, a German philosopher, essayist, and cultural critic, to be drawn by nihilism, some are of the opinion that he studied the nature of existence, morality, and tried to reaffirm life. When our feelings get too overwhelming, we tend to overthink and forget to distinguish between our emotions and our thoughts, thus inflating the impact of a mildly dissatisfying situation and looking at its complexities rather than focusing on the importance of self-realization. Number 11. Much learning does not teach understanding. Sternberg's theory of practical intelligence, Goleman's emotional intelligence, or Gardner's multiple intelligences concepts show us that there are other ways of knowing things besides standardized IQ tests. Heraclitus was of the idea that intelligence is not measured by how well we do in school, but the way we understand things around us by applying concepts that are outside of conventional knowledge we learn in books. Number 12. The disappearance of a sense of responsibility is the most far-reaching consequence of submission to authority. Stanley Milgram was someone that considered maintaining social responsibility was an important factor in keeping us from submitting to authority and being resilient to cruelty. By showing that ordinary people can be cruel to others, Milgram helped realize the need for social psychologists to show that resistance from being forced to conform by adhering to our own principles was key in fighting conformity. Number 13. There is in every child at every stage a new miracle of vigorous unfolding. Erikson showed the world that development of wisdom and thoughts is not something that stops at a certain age. This was during the time when it was popularly believed that childhood was the only time for real growth of wisdom. We learned that we are not complete just between the ages 5 to 12, but we evolve constantly throughout our lives through new experiences and stimuli for a greater understanding of ourselves and others. Number 14. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. James Baldwin gained popularity for his unique approach to political movements while interpreting deep personal questions. The American writer, poet, and social critic, through this quote, reflects on the social approach of humans on turning away daunting thoughts and not addressing them. While it may be tempting to flee rather than fight, running away from situations will not be fruitful in the long run. Number 15. Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. We couldn't make a list of famous quotes without including at least one from Chomsky. Chomsky is an American linguist, philosopher, cognitive scientist, historian, social critic, and political activist. Chomsky pointed out that a sentence can be syntactically correct, but semantically meaningless. To translate this quote into everyday life, remember that if you are not careful with your language choice, you may create semantically meaningless sentences that will have different results than intended. Quotes can provide insight into ourselves, inspiration for achieving greater personal satisfaction, and guidance for achieving our goals. Psychologists have given us famous quotes, but it's not just them that have an upper hand in the market when it comes to providing wisdom and inspiration. We hope that you agree that these quotes are excellent gateways to knowing the ways that our mind's capabilities of achieving things and a collective source of wisdom, and also personal advice. If you enjoyed the video and would like to learn more about the human mind, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such exciting content. See you all in the next one.